Alright, hello, and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today we've got a whole mixed bag of everything. So let's get into this. MasterCard has launched a Smile to Pay system amid privacy concerns. Well, that's what they say. Before I go full reset on you, it's not too dissimilar from what's already built into iPhone and possibly a couple of other smartphones already, where they have the facial recognition to unlock your phone. It's just another biometric extension. Seemingly, or is it? Let's find out. At the same time, you've got bread subsidies being cut, which has sparked protests in Egypt. And so you might be thinking, how are these two things linked or not connected? Are they, aren't they? Well, I should probably mention before as well, this has come off the back of, they've got severe inflation in Egypt, and they were being subsidized to be fed, and now they've taken, the government has taken this away. So let's take a look at these bread subsidies, right? You scroll down, and what you'll find is this somewhat alarming paragraph. The government will offer citizens digital coupons that will allow them access to a limited amount of bread at subsidized prices. Does this mean that you are eventually going to have to smile in order to receive your government handout? Are you going to have to show your face and download an app in order to receive your bread? I don't know, but I am inherently paranoid and inherently cynical of things like this, so we will keep an eye on it. If you've been following the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've been warning about food shortages coming this year, towards the end of this year for some time now. So it's been a little while, maybe a couple of weeks since I've mentioned food shortages, so I think it's time we address this a little bit again, and I start to ring the bell, put the warning out there. Don't go panic buying anything, but certainly something to consider. Having a little extra put away every week and building up a stash can't go amiss. Meanwhile, there's been a global, this isn't just the UK, I think these two examples I've got to show you is the UK, but there's been this sort of global thing blown up, which is a build to rent scheme where they're just going to build these giant complexes and sell it to you almost like a hotel. So it's going to be sold to you as, oh, you can live in this hotel permanently. But it just feeds back into this thing about you'll own nothing and be happy, you know. All over the country in the UK and all around the world as well, they've got these build-to-rent schemes, which essentially they want you to live in this little box, this little apartment. I'm sure it looks very nice, but they're going to keep you there and you're never going to own anything, and all your money's going to go to them, and therefore you'll never be able to save, you'll never be able to own your own property. You've got the celebrities, Elon, of course, tweeting that he plans to own no homes. I'm sure we'll see more and more of this. This being promoted, so keep an eye out for that. Don't fall for it. Meanwhile, in the UK, we have got inflation just hit 9%, according to their CPI number. If you don't know about the CPI, click the link in the top right. Watch that. So yeah, the real world number at least double this. It's got to be. So it's just going to get worse, as I've been saying. I've been saying this for ages. It's going to continue to get worse. So make sure you're prepared accordingly. I've got a summary prepared at the end for how you can help to prepare, and I've got a video entitled "You Are Not Ready." So go and watch that as well. That'll help you to prepare for the hyperinflation or severe levels of inflation that are coming. Meanwhile, Peter Schiff says rising food and gasoline prices will put more downward pressure on Bitcoin prices. That's because grocers and gas stations won't trade their food and fuel for Bitcoin. Well, this isn't necessarily true. Russia has announced it's going to possibly start to accept Bitcoin for oil and gas, and this is for crude oil and natural gas. So, and if you wanted to spend your Bitcoin, you can of course get one of these many debit cards. This is just a few of the best ones recommended by Investopedia, but there are tons of debit cards you can get. You can earn interest, cash back on the credit card type ones. You can get loans against your Bitcoin and collateralize your Bitcoin for other things. So the notion that you can't use any of this, you can't spend your Bitcoin is kind of silly. Although he does make a reasonable point at the end. He says, so if Bitcoin hodlers want to eat and drive, soon they'll be forced to sell their precious sats or Bitcoin to afford to. But this is true of anything. Like if you've got all your money in Bitcoin, then you might have to sell it, some of it, which might put downward pressure on the price. But people liquidate everything when the stuff hits the fan. People are going to sell gold too. Of course, if you don't already know, Peter Schiff has an enormous conflict of interest since he owns a gold bullion dealership. So he wants everyone to buy gold, And he's right. I think gold's going to do very well. I agree with him on that. But there's no one that's ever been as wrong as Peter Schiff on Bitcoin. He's consistently gotten it wrong for 13 years, and he will continue to get it wrong because it's not in his interest for the people that spend their fiat and convert it into gold through his business. It's not in his interest for them to be lost to Bitcoin. So, you know me by now. I'm not tribal about gold or Bitcoin. I think both are great. I think both have their purposes. But this is kind of a moot point, I think. If you don't have enough income month to month, then yeah, you're going to be forced to liquidate assets. But if you don't hold any Bitcoin, gold, or stocks, then you're going to have to liquidate other things like trainers and watches and cars or whatever else. So, yes, it's true of Bitcoin, but it's also true of everything else. Moving on. Bitcoin is slowly painting the world orange. Panama, El Salvador, Central African Republic. So over time, there's no doubt that more and more of the world is going to be painted orange as, of course, more countries join these three in adopting the Bitcoin standard and making it legal tender. Russia has announced that it's going to have its first financial digital assets expected this year, as early as this year. So Russian central bank digital currency. Is it going to be backed by gold? Quite possibly. It's going to be really exciting and also terrifying to see what they come up with. So we'll keep an eye on that. I thought this was funny and also goes to show how censorship resistant Bitcoin really is. China banned Bitcoin mining and the hash rate dropped as all the miners seemed to be forced out of China. Only a period of weeks to a couple of months later, China has got an estimation of 22.3% of the Bitcoin hash rate again. So second only to the US at 27.7%. So it just goes to show that you can see here the hash rate in China, in pink, dropped off to 0, but they've already recovered pretty well. So it just goes to show that you can't really censor Bitcoin. You can ban the mining, but they'll figure out a way to do it. They'll figure out a way to hide their IP addresses and to spoof their locations, and you can't stop Bitcoin. No one can stop Bitcoin. We've had terrible earnings from Target Corporation, and their price today has fallen off a cliff. As you can see, they're down 26% as of the time of recording. Peter Schiff had a comment on this as well. He said Target shares are crashing 25% today as profits plunge despite rising sales, as shoppers spent more money on higher priced food, leaving less money available to buy higher margin big ticket items. Now Target needs to raise prices much more, especially food prices, and this is stagflation. So we do have stagflation. We have got a stagnating economy during a time of high inflation to the point where inflation is now outpacing the growth of the economy, and this is what stagflation is. So this is really quite brutal to see. I've been warning about this and will continue to warn about this. So please make sure you've seen the videos linked at the end of this and or in the description. I'll put the links into the description of this video, so please make sure you go and watch those. Make sure you're prepared for all of this stuff. And just before I get into the trade portion at the end of this video, the trade update, I'd like to leave you with this. Please stock some food sensibly. I say sensibly, I'm not condoning going out panic buying, bulk buying, spending all your money on tinned food. That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm just saying, just please add a little bit of food to your weekly shop. Add a little bit of food that you can store. If you don't eat it, great, donate it to charity. You can always eat it as it approaches its sell by date, but having some non-perishables in the house just in case things start to get really, really wild, and I've long thought they might, better to have and not need. So if you're in a position to be able to do that, then stock up a bit for you and your family. Encourage your family to do the same, and hopefully we can get through this with a little bit more comfort. It's also good to have energy, shelter, water, medicines where applicable, community, money outside the system. So all of this will be detailed in the video. You're not ready, make sure you go and see that. Don't readily sign up to things like Smile to Pay or Build to Rent. They're not cool. They're only damaging everyone around us. The future generations are going to have no choice. So if no one wants to rent these Build to Rent things, then what are they going to do? And if no one wants to Smile to pay for a loaf of bread or similar, then what are they going to do? So continue to resist. Don't fall for their nonsense. Moving on. So Target and stagflation and higher inflation and all of this stuff is weighing on the markets at the moment. I am not going to do anything with this position. Why should I? So I have a stop. We have our clearing validation until we're taken out. Then the target is up here, as I said before. So we'll hold that. Taking a look at silver. Silver breaking out, and is it retesting now? It looks like it. So I said I got a partial position. That will be slightly in a loss at the moment. I'll be looking to add on a resumption. So if we can maybe get another touch and then we can take out this high, I'll be looking to jump in on that. And hopefully we can get a repeat of one of these breaks from the prior time, as you can see. So that's pretty much all from me. We'll take a look at Bitcoin just because we love Bitcoin. Still kind of sideways. Looks like at the moment, it looks like we might be getting one of these. I've pointed this out a couple of times so far. It looks like we might be getting one of these play out, so we'll see if we get something like that. Of course, the Fed are soon going to have to pivot. If markets continue to break like they are, if markets continue to fall off a cliff, and well, they haven't fallen off a cliff yet, but if they do take out these lows and start to plunge, then that's going to force the Fed's hands. The Fed is of course bluffing with inflation, so we'll see a pivot fairly soon. I'm confident of that. But in the meantime, do trade safe. Don't go on excessive leverage. And remember, we live in incredibly volatile times, so do what you can to protect you and your family. If you found value here today, please ensure you subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that a lot. Please follow me on Twitter as well. And until next time, take care. Bye.